Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is a new This Is Us Season 4 theory discussion, and we wanted to take some time to actually get into what I think is one of the biggest questions a lot of people have this season right now. What causes the feud between Kevin and Randall that leads to the two of them not talking?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least for me, I thought it was all going to come to a head once Kevin realized the truth about Rebecca's condition. And he seems to be, maybe not okay with it, but it doesn't seem to have caused this huge, severe, cavernous rift that I thought that it would.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I was surprised. If I was on the receiving end of that would have caused that kind of rift for me for sure.
Yeah, so now we have to sort of figure out, if that's not the problem, what is the problem? Or maybe it's a part of the problem, but it's certainly not a complete part. So what we're going to go through here are 5 different other possibilities that could lead to some sort of feud happening, and we'll talk about the plausibility of all of them. But before we dive in, if you like this discussion, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because after every This Is Us episode, we will, of course, come on here and talk it through and deal with all of our feelings together.
Yep.
Such is the way with this show. Okay, idea number 1, that Randall's therapy somehow causes him to push the rest of his family away, or causes him to approach situations that lead to conflicts between everyone.
Yeah, which is really the theory that I'm leaning the most into, because therapy brings up all kinds of feelings, unresolved things that you didn't even know you were holding on to, which then sometimes causes people, possibly Randall, to go and confront those things. So we know that in their childhood that Kevin wasn't always the nicest to Randall.
Yeah.
And Kevin always kind of felt like a bit of an outsider, and I think he took it out on Randall. Randall, I think, maybe felt like I don't know, that there was just normal sibling stuff, and maybe in some ways it was, but maybe it wasn't. I just am thinking that something is going to come up where Randall ends up feeling some way about Kevin and whatever their relationship is or was, and he's going to go try to talk to Kevin about it in a setting where it's not maybe the two of them together with a therapist to be able to talk it through. That's usually when things go sideways, where one person's receiving therapy, the other isn't, and the person in therapy goes to say something to the person who's not, and they might feel attacked. It just depends on how Randall says it. And because he's got some anxiety right now, and you don't always say things the way that you want to. So I'm kind of worried that something's going to come out in therapy. Randall's going to go talk to Kevin about it. Kevin's not going to take it right. Splitsville for a little while.
I think the biggest reason to suspect that this is involved is just because we're doing this right now, and we haven't seen Randall in therapy before. We don't know how he's really going to react to it, and we don't have that much time before the supposed feud is going to start. So,
and we also don't know about the therapist yet, and I don't know if this show is pretty good at being kind of true to life.
Yeah.
And giving us situations that we can all relate to. That's why This Is Us is as good as it is. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I'm wondering is Randall going to get the right therapist immediately? And anyone who's been in therapy knows that you don't always land on the right therapist at the right away, and you have to go through a couple people. Sometimes you get a really bad therapist that leads you into what they think they're helping you with, but it really just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And then you end up making decisions that you weren't right for you. So I'm very curious to learn about this therapist, how it's gonna land for him. Is he gonna have someone who's exactly right for him, or somebody who's not right for him and then causes a problem by accident?
Let's get into number 2 now, which is there going to be a way where either Kevin or Randall does something to effectively put Rebecca, maybe not so much in danger, but they don't show proper consideration for her and what she's going through? Because I think if nothing else, what we know about both Kevin and Randall is they care immensely for their mom. And beyond all of that, I think they're both going to be on edge now, especially Kevin, given that he's been out of the loop for so long, about what she's going through. So I can easily sort of view a situation where, say, for example, Kevin and Rebecca are spending a lot of time together on this upcoming episode, and they may be doing something that's innocent, and I don't know exactly what that could be, but maybe Randall's going to look at that and be like, why are you putting someone with the memory issues that she has through that, and maybe that sparks off and leads into something else.
Yeah, I could easily see something like that happening where Rebecca asks Kevin to do something and Kevin's like, whatever you want, let's do it. Let's do it together. And then Randall finds out later, and because Randall thinks that he is the glue that's holding the family together, so he's kind of the one that's in charge of everything, that he's lost a little bit more control. Because I think that with Rebecca in the future staying at Kevin's house, that Kevin is going to be the one that's going to be a bit of the rock and a bit of the shoulders for the family, and the one that's providing most of the care for Rebecca. So if that shift is really coming, it may start as early as now.
I think that's certainly feasible. It's feasible that it actually is Randall who does something that sort of makes Kevin upset when it comes to Rebecca. I think it could go either way with this theory, which is what makes it kind of interesting. Okay, the next one, number 3. This is not one that I actually think is going to happen, but I think it merits just a little bit of conversation. In that both Randall and Kevin are in some ways public figures.
Yep.
They're both out there. They both have to make comments, right? I mean, as of right now, especially, Randall has sort of been thrust into this position where he's this local hero because of that situation that unfolded, and he's not necessarily used to being in the spotlight like that.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he just says something about Kevin that ends up, I mean, it could be totally separate from Rebecca or therapy or anything else, that just makes Kevin feel like he's being disrespected and mistreated, and ultimately that leads to the problem that they have?
Yeah, or could it even be the opposite, where Kevin is going to maybe expose what's going on with Randall and therapy, or his anxiety, and he is a public figure now, so that could be something that could end up causing Randall to have a rift with him, because it's private. And I could never see Kevin just going out and saying it to just be cruel.
No.
But I could see him in a situation where he's just not thinking, and it comes out, and it hurts Randall, and it hurts his reputation.
I definitely think that this is something that is possible. I also think the reason why I'm doubting it is just because we haven't really seen a lot of build-up or setup for something like that happening, and it would be a little out of left field, but
it would be. And also I'm kind of thinking, like, it's not as serious to me anyways. It's not as serious as keeping from Kevin that their mother is getting sick. Like, that is really serious. And if that's not going to break them up, I don't know that this would cause a rift that two brothers wouldn't speak.
All right, so number 4, we're going to actually talk more here about Kate and Toby. Is it possible that Randall chooses one side in a possible split between Kate and Toby, Kevin chooses another side, let's say, because we saw Kevin and Kate together at the birthday party.
Yep.
Could Randall theoretically, side with Toby on some level, and Kevin could see that as a betrayal of the family?
Yeah, I've seen this theory going around online. I've seen it in the comments, so I think it's a good one to talk about. It is possible that we don't know that they're going to split yet.
No.
Yeah, there are some clues out there that could lead us to think that, but I'm skeptical just because the show has misled me before. And so once I see a little more, then I'll be more on board with that. I think that they could be headed towards a divorce or separation or something. And I could see Kevin getting really upset if Randall is siding with Toby. I could actually, of course, also see Kate getting upset about that. I mean, that's her brother, and Toby is not his immediate family sort of thing. So it depends on what the situation is.
Yeah, and I think it would have to be really, really specific. And I feel kind of like this one the same I do about number 3, where maybe under a very specific circumstance it could work, but it's also that, this is the big 3, and I just can't in my head picture Randall going against Kate in that sort of way. But if it's something very specific, it could theoretically happen. It's at least meriting being a spot on the list because we know how much Kevin is protective of Kate.
Yeah.
Finally, though, number 5, this is the one that I kind of side with the most. And I mean, it could be sort of tied into a lot of these other theories, and that sometimes a big argument just comes from a small argument. And it could be as simple as, you know, Kevin, you said you were going to be here at this time. Why didn't you show up? Or Randall, you said you were going to reach out to this doctor about Rebecca. Why did you not do that? Why are you not listening to me? And it could just lead to this larger sort of argument where if they're both on edge and dealing with anxiety, maybe Kevin then brings up the secret being kept from him. And then Randall starts to bring up Kevin's drinking and that stuff that's happened in the past. And then it just leads to the two shouting at them. Maybe Randall's therapy does come out as a part of all of this. And then it just leads to a position where neither one of them want to actually own any sort of fault in what happens. And they just don't talk.
That absolutely happens.
It does.
I have seen it with my own eyes in family and friends. This absolutely is a thing. So I think that this could be something. It starts out as a much smaller fight, spirals into, well, remember when you did this? Or how about when you did this? And now they're like legitimately angry and not speaking.
I'm not saying I'm rooting for any feud to happen between these two because I'm not, but we know what's happening. Yeah, we know what's happening. We can't ignore it. I would prefer it be something like this than one big singular betrayal, because I feel like this is a situation where eventually they can work to get past it if both of them are in the wrong and both of them said some stuff they didn't mean. They just may be very stubborn for a while, but I feel like they can get past it. I mean, seemingly it suggests from the flash forwards that they will get past it.
For me, the theory that I'm hoping or leaning into the most is that something's going to come out for Randall in therapy that is something that needs to be talked about. And while it may cause a rift initially, and they may not talk for a little while, that it's something that was serious enough that it needed to be addressed and it needed to be talked about, and that they were able to eventually move past it. At least then, to me, that feels like that there's more sort of skin in the argument, that they are tackling something that's really important that needs to be dealt with so that they can be better brothers to each other moving forward and have a better relationship.
Yeah, it gets worse before it gets better sort of idea, right, where it can get better, but it's going to be really bad first. But those are our theories for why this feud may be happening. Maybe we'll get some answers on the next episode. But what are your theories? Do you agree with any of this? Share in the comments below, and if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store, and we'll see you here next time.